Hey everybody. So it's time to look at the Washington Capitals 2019-2020 season preview. Before we get into the video, I quickly want to say that if you enjoy this video, please hit the like button. That helps out a lot with the channel. And if you're not yet a subscriber to the channel, please hit that subscribe button for great hockey content all year long. So the Washington Capitals, kind of a shocking loss in the first round last year to the Carolina Hurricanes. Went all the way down to a Game 7 and double overtime in Game 7, but the Hurricanes moved on, and the Capitals, who were the defending Stanley Cup champions, found themselves out in the first round. So, heading into this year, I definitely think there's going to be an extra chip on the shoulder for the Washington Capitals, an extra little bit of motivation there, given the way that last season ended for them. And when you look at their lineup, they are returning once again with a very, very good team. A team that should be one of the best teams in the Eastern Conference, should be a Stanley Cup contender, and overall is in a very good spot. So let's take a look at the lineup here, and don't complain to me in the comments section about the line combinations. I use cap-friendly depth charts for the lines. If there's anything, for the most part, that I just copy what Cap Friendly has for the line combos. If there's anything obvious or anything in particular, maybe one or two people that I might want to change or switch around, then I'll do that. But for the most part, these line combinations come from Cap Friendly. I don't know what all 31 teams' lines are going to look like in the NHL. The coaches don't know what the lines are going to look like right now. We haven't even started training camp yet. So don't whine about the line combos. They all could change. They're going to be fluid throughout the season. One guy is not going to stay in the same spot. Guys move around all the time. So for the first line, I have Alex Ovechkin, obviously top line left wing, Evgeny Kuznetsov in the middle, and Tom Wilson on the right side. Tremendous first line. Obviously, Backstrom and Kuznetsov can kind of switch to first or second line. They kind of flip-flop sometimes depending on who's playing better. But I think for the most part, Kuznetsov has been on that top line with Ovechkin and Wilson, and Backstrom's been on the second line with Oshie and Vrana. So that's how I have them here. Tom Wilson last year, I think 40 points proved that he can be 40 points in 63 games. He missed a lot of time because of suspension. Wilson proved that he's a top 6 forward. The playoffs 2 years ago when they won the Cup was not a fluke. He can be a good offensive player. He had 18 goals last year, or 22 goals last year, and 18 assists. Wilson can be a top 6 player, and he's done very well since being moved up on that top line with Ovechkin and Kuznetsov. So the second line, you have Jacob Vrana, Nick Backstrom, and TJ Oshie. Very, very good second line there. Obviously can put up a lot of points for a second line. And overall, Washington's top 6 is absolutely outstanding. Third line, Carl Hagelin, who signed a 4-year deal with the team to stay in Washington. Lars Eller in the middle, and Richard Panik, a solid third-line pickup on the right side. He I think, can contribute a decent amount of goal scoring for a third-line position. And then your fourth line, Brendan Leipsic on the left side, Nick Dowd in the middle, and Garnet Hathaway, who I think is a good fourth-line pickup for them coming over from Calgary in free agency. Pretty tough kid, likes to throw his weight around, not afraid to drop the gloves, will mix it up with anybody. I'm a big fan of Garnet Hathaway. I think he can add a lot to this lineup, and really when you look at it, as far as, like fighting and physicality and toughness goes, it's kind of, Washington's been heavily reliant on Tom Wilson to do pretty much all of that for their team. Hathaway now gives Wilson a little bit of help, and they don't have to solely rely on Wilson to be the tough guy, because Hathaway can play that role as well. Moving on to the defense, top pair, John Carlson, who I think is still extremely underrated and one of the best defensemen in the league. I still don't think John Carlson really, he doesn't get talked about the way that the Erik Karlssons and Brent Burns and Victor Hedmans and guys like that do. But he really should be. He had 70 points last year as a defenseman and played over 25 minutes per game. I mean, it's just remarkable what this guy is able to do, and he's an extremely good player, and I think still underrated. Playing with, I have Dmitry Orlov. Kempny, if assuming he's healthy enough to start the season, could potentially be on that top pair, and then Orlov would drop to the second. Again, those two are they flip-flop. They're pretty interchangeable. But I have Orlov up there with him because Orlov can bring it offensively as well sometimes. Second pair, Nick Jensen and Michael Kempny. Now, assuming Michael Kempny is ready to go at the start of the season. Kempny got injured in April last year and had a 4 to 6 month time frame on that recovery. Assuming he stays within that 4 to 6 month recovery, he should be good to go by the beginning of the season. If there's any setbacks, then it might, he may have to miss the first couple weeks, the first month or something like that. And then they would have to, everyone would slot up. But I think Kempny should be good to go. And that leaves Christian Djoos and Radko Gudas, who's coming over from the Philadelphia Flyers. Obviously that Matt Niskanen trade, as your bottom pair. Gudas, again, helps with the team in the toughness category. He's a very, very physical player. He will throw his weight around and hit anybody. He not a huge fighter, but he can drop the gloves. He kind of... Brooks Orpik retired. Orpik was kind of the tougher guy on the back end for Washington, and with Orpik gone, Gudas now kind of fills that role as being the physical, veteran, tough guy on the back end. Obviously, we still have Braden Holtby in goal and Phoenix Copley back there backing him up. That leaves Travis Boyd and Chandler Stevenson as your extra forwards, and Jonas Siegenhalter as your seventh defenseman. And if Michael Kempny is not ready at the start of the season, Siegenhalter will slot into the lineup, and Tyler Lewington will probably become your seventh defenseman. But overall, this, I think, is a very strong lineup, a very good team. I have high expectations for Washington again this year. They have an absolutely outstanding top six forward group. Their bottom six forwards are very strong and all can, play their particular role very well. The defense, there's not a lot of star power on this defense outside of John Carlson. I think that's something that if you're looking for maybe a hole in the team, it could be defensive depth. And it could be the fact that, you have John Carlson, who's one of the best defensemen in the league. But after that, it's kind of, a bunch of middle-of-the-road type guys. But Orlov's pretty good. Nick Jensen can hold his own. Kempny, when he's healthy, can be a solid defenseman. And then, you got Djoos and Gudas as your bottom pair, which, I wouldn't want as, say a middle pair, but as a bottom pair can be very effective in that role. They have one of the best goalies in the league in Braden Holtby. He's going to play a lot this year. It's Washington, once again, returns with a very good team. And this is a team I expect should compete for their division. They should compete for the top spot in the entire Eastern Conference. And I do not think they're going to lose in the first round again this year. I think last year, it came down to a Game 7. We all know anything can happen in a Game 7. Went all the way to double overtime. I mean, at that point, it was just, one little thing and your season's over, and that's what happened to Washington. I think they're going to come back hungry. I think they're going to come back with a chip on their shoulder, and this is a team that expects to go deep into the playoffs this season. They absolutely have the lineup to do it. Talent up and down the lineup. Their forward group is spectacular. They have a top 5 NHL goalie. There's no reason for them not to be spectacular this year. So overall, I think this will be one of the best teams in the league, and I am definitely looking forward to watching Washington play this year. And they should be a fun team to watch, and they should be a very, very good team. So with that, like, comment, share, subscribe, follow on social media. All those links are down in the description below. If you'd like to further support the channel, the links to our Patreon and merchandise store are in the description as well. Keep spreading the word about this channel. Let's keep this thing growing. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll talk to you guys soon.